Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Going Rounds podcast. And I am out of town. Look at that. I am out of town for work, and I got everything all screwed up. Hold on. Stuff. I had everything behind the scenes mess up. Blooper time. Anyway, who cares? I'm out of town for work. I'm still here doing the damn thing. So, welcome back to another Going Rounds podcast. That's what I meant to say in the beginning. Forget what just happened. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I am here and ready to do the damn thing because it's been a long week, been a long day, and I was running late. I had a few things to get together for the podcast, and of course, the day that I need to get everything done, I I get caught up at work, and you know things happen. Who gives a shit? I guess, but yeah, I made it, and the stress is a little less now. I gotta make sure I get a little sip of my drink. I miss my old fashions, man. That's usually what I drink, but there's way too many ingredients. It's not a lot, but it's enough to where, you know, I can't bring it all with me. I already have to lug around all my stuff for podcasting, so I hate the way everything's lined up right now. I cannot get it right. Well, we're gonna have to deal with it. So yeah, I gotta bring a bunch of stuff with me when I come out of town. I wasn't gonna bring this mic. This is my newer mic that I was talking about before. But I brought it anyway because it has a cool little desk stand that it came with. So yeah, I was like, I don't need an arm. I miss my mic arm too. I'm ridiculous. I'm missing everything right now. I miss my family. I miss everything. It's been a long week. So, but at least I have this as kill time, I guess. I've been wrapped up in everything podcast for the entire week. So, I really hope that my feed looks better than it does using the hotel Wi-Fi. I'm using my mobile hotspot. You gotta do certain tricks to get things going and get things correct. And well, the hotel doesn't always have the best Wi-Fi, so I gotta work with what I got. And it looks like on my phone I'm doing all right. So I'll take that for what it is. Hopefully you guys are out there watching and it's not too horrible of a thing for you with the background being all weird. But who cares? We're here to talk about MMA and combat sports, and I got a lot to talk about. It's been a hell of a beginning of the year. I mean, what are we at? Let's see. We're January 19th, so we're more than halfway through the month, right? And it's been nonstop. Like nonstop with news, tragedies, uh just nonsense, bullshit, craziness, but I guess it keeps it interesting. It gives me content. Not all of it's the best kind of content, um, but it's something to talk about. I'd rather things not be that crazy and having bad shit happen to people. Uh, but what can you do? I mean, it's the world we live in. That's life. Nothing is perfect and nothing is all pretty and flowers and rainbows and shit like that all the time. So, just like today for me, bunch of back and forth bullshit with work and everything's crazy. And, it felt like a great, easy day at first. I was all happy. I got a lot of shit done. And then all of a sudden, I get more shit dropped on top of me, troubleshooting, stuff like that. Doesn't always go my way. But I still get shit done. So I can't complain too much. Uh, but yeah, just not everything's perfect. And shit goes haywire sometimes. And that's how this beginning of this month has been. And coincidentally, it's the beginning of the year, right? So it is what it is, and we got to live with it, run through it, and deal with the problems as they come. So that's what I usually do. I prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I know it's cliche and all that shit, but that's about how I live. So if I think of all the worst shit in my head and then none of that happens, that just makes everything that did happen or nothing that happened and me just being the same as I am now that much better, because that just leaves room to grow. if I if I get taken down or some shit happens and things don't go my way. And like I said, I prepared for it because I prepare for the worst. So, you know, that I wish I was more prepared today, but I still got everything done, and I still got everything done in time. If you noticed at the beginning, I did, I've been working on some stuff here and there throughout the week. Um, but with the other podcasts and stuff, I do still have a little less time. So, but if you noticed at the beginning, I got a new little welcome screen and stuff like that. I'm just trying new things out. Like I said, always trying to make things better. Except for when I'm out of town, with the background and stuff, it's not better. It's actually worse. But at least I got the flag up, got something representing from the normal room, and I don't get the cool lights, but at least I got my ring light and it's putting off good lighting. But yeah, I'm looking at what I got is at way better than what I could have. So, and I'm making it work. Hopefully it's not too bad out there as far as the video and audio quality goes. But yeah, bunch of stuff happening this week. There's retirements, there's fight shakeups, there's fight news, there's all kinds of new fights being announced, all kinds of shit. And that that's good and bad. Uh sometimes I'm looking at the chat cuz Magix is on his way already. But 5x5, what are you talking about? Yeah, crazy fights. I got distracted already. I didn't even realize he was in the chat. But yeah, lots of fights happening, lots of fights going down. I need to wrap my head around some of this because there's just so much happening right now between the stuff with Dana White, between all the new fights, all the things changing. I'm sure you heard about Francis Ngannou. Oh, cool. Thanks, Magix. Got you. Now I know what you mean. um, but all this stuff going on with Francis Ngannou, I'm sure you've heard, and if you haven't, I'm gonna get into it and I'm gonna explain. So that's a lot of the news I got for today because there's a lot surrounding it. There's a lot of things when it comes to that topic, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I have a lot of opinions on it. So why the fuck am I wasting time, right? Let's get to it. We're gonna start off right here. All right, so yeah, you open your phone, you see a tweet from Ariel Helwani because I have his notifications turned on because he puts all the good news out there. I hate this. I hate being so close to the camera. It's so annoying. I'm looking at myself like, why the fuck am I so close? But if I sit back, oh, see? I sit back and my chair dropped a little. Shitty ass chair. Whatever. Anyway, back to it. Ariel Helwani tweets, Francis Ngannou is officially cleared to sign a deal with someone else. White says they are going to waive any right to match and let him go elsewhere. He is no longer the UFC heavyweight champion. White says they offered him a deal that would have made him the highest paid heavyweight ever. All right, let's go through this. Now, obviously this wasn't the first tweet, but this was the first one that was like, holy shit. Because Ngannou was... His contract had already been expired in December. But the thing is like he's saying here, White says they're going to waive any right to match and let him go elsewhere. They usually have a year to match any offer that is given to the fighter. So the fighter's usually stuck for up to a year most of the time with basically it's almost like a non-compete. Like they can't do anything. They can field offers, they can talk with people, but they can't commit to anything. They can't sign anything until the UFC matches the deal, and the UFC is gonna let it go as far as possible. Like they'll just let it go until the end, and it's just petty shit. It's like match the fucking offer or let them go. That's how it should be. Don't hold somebody up from making money and make them back into a corner where they're like, I either have to sign this fucking contract that I don't want to sign right now, or I take the offer they're giving me that's not what I want, or I wait it out and don't make money for a while unless I have something on the side going on. So it's kind of bullshit. I hate the way it works. I hate that it's like that. And a lot of it is just petty shit. Like maybe say, hey, give us a chance to match your first offer. Bring the first offer to the table. If you get some big money offer, let it be on the fighter, you know? But that's not how it works. So anyway, that's what he's talking about here. They usually have that time to match a contract or match an offer, and they waived that right to match that offer because basically Ngannou wasn't having it. They couldn't come to terms on anything. And what I think happened was they just got sick of it and they were like, fuck it, we're going to let him go because we got Jon Jones. Because Jon Jones is part of the news I'm talking about here, that Jon Jones is back finally after like 2.5 years, something crazy like that. Almost 3 years that he hasn't been fighting, you know, talking about going to heavyweight and all this shit. Well, he's committed and he's finally coming back, and we'll talk about that a little ways down the road, or I should say a little later in the show. That's what I mean. But back to Ngannou. So White says they offered him a deal that would have made him the highest paid heavyweight ever. Bullshit. Because I highly doubt that they were going to pay him nearly as much as they paid Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar right now, to my knowledge, has been the highest paid heavyweight ever. And that's because he had, of course, the star power from coming from WWE. You know, he's a big name. He's a big dude. He's like the quintessential fighter image. You know, he's just some big burly fuck, corn-fed motherfucker with crazy hair and massive muscles. maybe that's wrong, but you know, that's what the fuck he is. If you know Brock Lesnar, you know what I'm talking about. That fool is red all the time, but when he's not red, he's pale as fuck. He's got some stupid dick-looking sword on his chest that's tattooed. And it's not that I hate Brock, it's just that I hate the hype. And you know, he may have been the champ for a second, but he wasn't like as big of a fighter as some people make him out to be. He was good for what he was, but he wasn't like one of the all-time greats, that's for sure. Champ or not, I think it was timing. Timing is why he won that belt. And his size, it is hard to I guess manipulate someone of that size, you know? And then the coming out like a fucking banshee, crazy marauder, rushing everybody, that's what he did. And so, and when you got someone that big coming at you, it's like football, man. It's like, you got to be extra quick to be able to get the fuck away from that. And, you know, not everybody could. So I think it was timing. If you look at the fighters he fought at the time too, they were either getting older or were already had salty records and were up and down with their career. So enough about Brock though. Fuck it. Moving on. So Francis had he spoke about everything on Helwani's show, which, you know, continuing on with Helwani, because that's who got the interview. So Ariel Helwani, if you don't know, he's an MMA guy, journalist basically, and his show's really good. I mean, he usually goes on for like 4 hours, has all the top fighters on it that he can get, but he also has a lot of beef with a lot of people because he rubs people the wrong way. It is what it is. But so here's something that Francis said. He said, I asked for a lot of things, which doesn't mean I was expecting all those things, but I would expect at least a few. One or two out of those things. I asked for a sponsorship. I can't talk. I asked for a sponsorship, the right to sponsorship, which we've been ripped off. We can't have sponsorships. I asked for health insurance, couldn't have it. I asked for a fighter advocate, somebody in the board meeting who advocates for the fighters. I asked for that. I couldn't have those things. So he did. That's pretty much what happened. He asked for these 3 things. These are the top things that he asked for. And, you know, sponsorships have been gone for a long time. I mean, people get outside sponsorships, but they can't wear that stuff. They can't promote it in the cage. without the permission of the UFC, which they don't give permission to anything that unless they're being paid by that company or you know, whoever that sponsor is. So this is just part of the shit that goes down. Like, ever since they sold the company, they got this, you know, deal for all the clothes and fighter gear and all that stuff. It's like they have Monster as a sponsor. They got all the things you see in the cage are their sponsors. And, you know, there's special fighters that get specific sponsorships from these companies that are sponsoring, but not everybody does. You can't just go out and get a sponsor of your own and then, you know, rep it in the cage. It doesn't work like that anymore. You can have outside sponsors, but you're not going to be able to promote them on at the highest level, the highest stage where you're fighting. So what's the point? Some people will think. And then, you know, what I think is funny, if you've been following the Jake Paul stuff, this is pretty much what Jake Paul's fighting for all fighters, is to get stuff like this. Let them have their sponsorships. Let them have health insurance, so that when things like the UFC will cover things that happen if it's obvious and proven that you were training for a big fight, they'll cover it for the most part. If you're a bigger name fighter, I don't know about the lower level fighters. I've heard some different kind of stuff. But also, if you get hurt in the fight, okay, they're gonna take care of you. It's obvious, and it's dumb for them if they don't. So, but they don't have health insurance. You know, it's not like when you get a job. Like, this is their job, and there's a lot of things about it. They're supposed to be independent contractors, but the UFC treats them like they are employees. And if you're an employee, you better have some fucking benefits. You know what I'm saying? Like, some kind of health insurance, even if it sucks, at least it's offered. Some kind of future, some kind of way to take care of you in the future. There's no 401k. There's no, you know, yeah, maybe you can get that shit outside on your own, but there's no structure. There's no extra pay. Hey, after you know, there's no retirement pay. There's none of that kind of shit. And these guys are giving up a lot, putting a lot on the line, and winding up half crippled, depressed, CTE, anything like that, and they have nothing to show for it. Oh, you were a UFC champion, cool, so now people recognize you. Oh, maybe you got to keep the belt, cool. What does that do for you besides obviously personal glory and you know, you feel great about that? It's an accomplishment, but what did it do for you in the long run? It didn't do shit if you don't have anything to show for it. If you were a young champion, you blew all that money because nobody was helping you, and you weren't being smart, you definitely don't have anything to show for it. So that's what he's talking about. Board meeting somebody in the board meeting who advocates for the fighters. He wants a fighter advocate because they want somebody to fight for them to be fair. Managers and agents and all those motherfuckers, they're just out for themselves. They can only fight so hard and so far. These guys need to get, you know, it's been talked about with the union and the Fighters Association and all that shit, but these guys don't all want to work together. They don't all want to stand up and stand up for what's right for everybody. The guys at the top are getting paid, and if they're popular and put asses in those seats, they're definitely getting paid, and they don't want to risk any of that. So they're not going to say anything, but those are the guys with the most influence. And Francis is one of those guys that was at the top. He's the fucking champ, considered the baddest man on the planet. Scary motherfucker. Of course, he had some dud fights, but he was still the champ. He defended it. He won it from a guy who some would consider the GOAT, Stipe Miocic. And, you know, Stipe hasn't been the same since he fought Francis. So to delegitimize him is bullshit. And I've seen a lot of people doing that, and it's fucked up. You know, maybe he didn't fight the most fights in the world. Maybe he didn't have the most defenses. Maybe he did have a shitball fight with Derek Lewis where they both shit the bed. So what? So what? Everybody has an off day. It was a shitty fucking fight. Guess what? He came back and he kicked the shit out of some people and is still the champ. So fuck off. Because what? He's not supposed to have good shit or nice shit. He's not supposed to feel comfortable financially because he had one shitty fight. Get the fuck out of here. Like, some bullshit. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna read this because this goes right along. I didn't put this in here because I after I thought about it, I was like, this is fucking stupid. I'm not even gonna entertain it, but here we go. I'm gonna read it anyway. Wait, do I have it? Yeah, here it is. So I don't know who this person is that tweeted this, but I've seen them tweet about stuff before, and I don't know, some of it's funny, some of it makes sense. A lot of times it's bullshit. I don't know who the fuck this is, so I'm not even gonna give him credit. I don't give a shit. But this was what it says. UFC released a fighter who isn't a draw, isn't a real star, and has no personality. Yeah, his right hand goes brr. Bro, hits like a Ford Escort. Sand mines, all great. Sand mines is because of his backstory, how he got to the US and got away from basically being a slave and everything else. Says can't go very far with that for 7+ years though. Boring personality who fought once a year. You won't notice he's gone. That's why everybody's talking about him, right? You stupid fuck. Like, come on, man. He may not have been a Randy Couture. He may not have been a fucking, I can't even think, he may not be a Conor McGregor, all right? Because Conor puts asses in the seats regardless of what he does, makes a lot of money for the company and all that. Okay, he may not be that, but he was a bad motherfucker. If you saw what he did to Alistair Overeem, like, that's undeniable. So, what he did to Stipe, come on, man. What he did to Cain Velasquez. I was there live at that fight in Phoenix and watched that shit. Seconds, done. Like, Cain, I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened with Cain. But that was not a great fight for him. But it just proved even more what Ngannou's capable of. So, these fucking haters, man. I don't get it. But what he's asking for here would be nothing but good for all the fighters. And maybe not that great for the UFC in their eyes, but fuck it, man. They're making billions and billions of dollars. Anyway, I went on a rant. But I'm going to keep it going because this is another thing. This is another thing going along with what I'm saying. 600,000 sounds like a lot to us, right? Us people that don't get paid this much a year even. 600 grand for a UFC heavyweight title defense. He's already the champ. He's defending. And then you got fucking Chad Mendes. Nothing against Chad. It's not his fault. But he goes to bare knuckle boxing. Fucking bare knuckle boxing. In his debut, his first fight. Yeah, he's a name. He's an ex-UFC fucking like elite fighter. He goes to bare knuckle and makes 600 grand for his debut fight. Like, what? Now, I don't know if there's more fights after that, but how does that work? That's off. That's off. I don't know about that. And that's the problem. That was what part of Francis's problem. He said it wasn't about the money and the overall aspect. He wanted those things he was talking about, and they said no, straight up. So he couldn't get what he wanted, and part of what he wanted was to be paid fairly. You got these other champs, these other non-champs getting paid millions. Very few of them, but they are. And what's supposed to be the baddest man on the planet, the heavyweight champ of the highest, most elite organization in the entire sport, and he's only getting paid the same amount of a guy that just debuted in the bare knuckle fighting championship. What the fuck is wrong with this picture, right? Moving on to some more bullshit about this. So here's a quote from Dana White. He said, "So we get to this point. I've told you guys before, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here." Bullshit. I think Francis is in a place right now where he doesn't want to take a lot of risks. Bullshit. He feels like he's in a good position where he could fight lesser opponents and make more money. Fuck off. All right, I don't believe that for a second. With how hard that motherfucker hits, why is he trying to go fight Tyson Fury in boxing? That's not even his sport. But he wants to fight lesser opponents. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, okay, so he's gonna pass up whatever you guys were offering him to be the highest paid heavyweight champ in UFC history. He's gonna pass that up to go fight Tyson Fury, who he might get fucking starched by. And you think that's the way this is going, Dana? I think your wife slapped you too hard, bro. You need to get your shit right. Because what the fuck are you doing? But this is what they do. This is what they do. I hate to say it, but it is. It's what they did to Nate. Fucking disparaging him in the media because he wants to fight out his contract and move on and see what else is out there for him. He's done all kinds of shit. He hasn't been a champ in the UFC, but I think he realizes he's probably not going to get there. So he is of the upper echelon of fighters, but he's not going to be a champ. He's aged. His age is up there. He's taken too much damage, and he knows it. And that's why now he's trying to do what's best for him. And these motherfuckers want to go and talk shit about Nate and throw him out like the trash because he wants to fight out his contract and move on. Fucking petty ass bullshit. It's what I'm talking about. And this is more like Gray Maynard, okay? If you don't know who Gray Maynard is, if I was at home, I'd point him out in my background. He's in one of the posters that I have in the background of at my house. He had crazy fights with Frankie Edgar. So he comments, he's been retired for a while, and he comments out of the blue saying, "You want more pay? Scared to fight. Want a better contract? Scared to fight. Want to test free agency? Scared to fight. Shut up and take whatever they give you. Love to fight. Scary matchup for any scary match. Loves to fight. Scary matchup for anyone." Okay, so if you didn't follow that, he's basically being sarcastic, and the quotes are because that's what Dana says to all of these things. You want more money? You want a better contract? You want to test free agency? Shut the fuck up, take what they give you, or you're scared to fight. You're one of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet, and you're scared to fight. Okay. All right, Dana. Fight. Shut up. So, Jon Jones, he's back. He's back in the game, and he's ready to go. And they're trying to make the matchup, trying to make that fight. Francis versus Jon would have been dope. I was stoked. I was ready. I don't even like Jon Jones that much, but I fully respect what he does with the fight game, and you can't deny how good he is. But a lot of his outside shit, it sucks, and that's what makes me annoyed by him. The way that he handles situations when it comes to some of these fights, and the way that he talks, man, he does not help himself at all. But he's a badass, and he's arguably one of the best ever. So he says, "I'm happy for Francis. I'm glad that Francis knows his worth. No man has a right to shame another man for fighting for his worth." Dana. I added to Dana, obviously. "I encourage Francis on his journey, and I wish him all the best." That was Jon Jones in a Sports Illustrated interview. Jon Jones gets it. He's been in this position before, but he's always been able to leverage for what he wanted, or at least close to what he wanted. He's held out before, and hold on. I'll tell you a quick story about one of the reasons why I hate Jon Jones, because this motherfucker, and I am giving him props though for this. What he said about Francis, he gets it. He knows what's up, and he knows what's happening. Side note, he just signed an 8-year contract, or an 8-fight contract with the UFC. Probably now the most highly paid heavyweight, because he just moved up to heavyweight. So keep that in mind. That's probably why Dana's like, "Hey Francis, fuck off. We got Jon. Jon will do everything for us. He puts more asses in the seats than you do." All right. But where I was going was Jon Jones, UFC 151, supposed to fight Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson gets hurt. This was my honeymoon. Me and my wife went on our honeymoon to Vegas, right? We love Vegas. It is what it is. We couldn't really put together anything else because we didn't really want to. We wanted to go to Vegas, and my wife knows how much I love MMA, and this is why I love her and why I married her. Well, because she thinks of these kinds of things, and she's awesome. She bought us tickets to UFC 151 in Las Vegas. to go watch the fights and experience the whole thing in Vegas during our honeymoon. I mean, she's a badass, right? So I love her for it too. And it was the best of intentions. But here's what's fucked up. Dan Henderson had to pull out of the fight and he got hurt. Well, of course the UFC's scrambling because, to be honest, the rest of that card was not great. But he was, he was hurt. So he pulled out of the fight. And they tried, of course, people come running to the gates, trying to climb over, saying, I'm ready. And Chael Sonnen was one of them. Now, at the time, I didn't like Chael very much. I like him a lot more now. I think he's cool. But at the time, I didn't like Chael. But I was like, look at Chael. Chael trying to save the fucking day. And Jon wouldn't fight him. Jon said no. He said, I prepared for one opponent only, and I'm not fighting anybody else. So guess what happened? First ever UFC pay-per-view event to be canceled. Was supposed to be my first ever event. Was supposed to be me watching the fights live in Vegas, the full experience, and I didn't get to because Jon Jones was being a bitch and didn't want to fight. Like, of course, that's me saying just being salty because being salty because I didn't get to go. At least we got refunded. What's up, Trend? I'm glad you're here. I don't care if you're late. I miss you too. That's my daughter. But yeah, so that's part of my stuff against Jon Jones, but it's a lot of the other shit. But I give him props for this. I know I keep going on tangents, but I told you I had a lot to say about all this stuff. But Jon Jones knowing what Francis is saying and giving him his props and saying, hey, know your worth, man. Nobody should shame you for that. Good on him. I love it. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's the kind of shit and that's the kind of encouragement that the fighters need to be giving each other and not talking shit behind each other's backs or talking shit in the media about them because they left. Like, they left for a reason. So that brings me to the new matchup because remember I said Jones was supposed to fight Ngannou. Well, since that wasn't happening, Ngannou was the champ. Not anymore. Relinquished the belt. Took his ball and left because he's over it. They couldn't come to agreements. Ngannou's out. No matter what that UFC says, by the way, he was not released. He left on his own accord. They couldn't come to terms on the contract. His contract was up. Null and void, fulfilled, done. So he didn't get released. He left. That's how it goes. Relinquishes the belt, obviously. If he doesn't have a contract to fight in the UFC, he's not going to be the UFC champ. So, new fight. Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane. I'm excited for this fight. I would have rather seen it be Ngannou, but I'm excited for this fight because Ciryl Gane is an athletic motherfucker. And he's one of the guys that could probably hang with Jon Jones. But I heard something that made a lot of sense. And I'll give props to who said it. It was Brendan Schaub. A lot of people think he's full of shit, but I think this is a legit point. So, Ciryl Gane had trouble with Ngannou when Ngannou decided to grapple with him. Like, Ciryl Gane is athletic. You can see by his body that he's fucking fit as shit. He's explosive. He's athletic, and he's got a lot of power. And he's got great movement, great footwork, but he didn't do well against grappling against Ngannou, who Ngannou is not the best grappler at all whatsoever. That was one of his fucking downfalls with some of the fights that he's had. So Gane didn't do well against Ngannou, and Ngannou took him down a couple times and gave him a fit. So Jon Jones is quite the grappler. He's a hell of a jiu-jitsu practitioner as well, and he's got crazy dynamic striking. So if you've ever, that's why he's considered one of the GOATs. Like, and he's not even done with his career. If you've seen anything, what he did to Shogun to win the belt with that armbar, he fucked his arm up. And on top of that, what he's done with the knockouts of Daniel Cormier, I mean, I can't even get into all of it. I'm sure you guys know if you follow MMA at all, and if you've ever seen Jon Jones fight. But here's my counter to that. Okay, Jon Jones, his last fight was against oh man, how did I just forget his goddamn name? Come back to me. Oh my god. Anyway, his last opponent, I'm gonna look it up real quick because I don't know how I just forgot this. It was literally in my head. Dominic Reyes. I didn't even have to finish the search. Dominic Reyes. A lot of people said Dominic Reyes won that fight. And this fight was in 2020, I believe. So a lot of people thought Reyes won that fight. It went to a decision, and Jones didn't look great. He didn't look great at all. He actually looked like older than he is. I mean, it wasn't that great at all. He still got the win. He's still undefeated, even though there's that one no contest on his record or some shit. But yeah, or no, I think they called it a loss. That's why he, air quotes, undefeated. But yeah, so Dominic Reyes wrestled Jon Jones and gave him gave him some problems. So doesn't mean that Jones is gonna just come out and just annihilate Gon. I don't think there's any way of that. But here's another thing to think about. Tai Tuivasa, not the most technical striker in the world, but he's got power, and he puts all that weight behind the power. I mean, behind the punch for that power. So Tai Tuivasa put Cyril Gane on his ass. Now Cyril Gane came back and kind of whooped up fucking Tuivasa, which sucked, and got that win, TKO. But still, I mean, he looked untouchable before that, and Tai put it on him. So I don't know, man. I don't know where this is gonna go. I think at the announcement of the fight, Jones was an underdog, and now he's the favorite. So if you didn't get in on betting on that in the first during the first announcement, then you're not gonna get that plus money. But I should have bet. I was going to, and I didn't. I might do it though for this Saturday during the live fights to make that a little bit interesting and to get something going for that. But we'll see what happens. There'll be more on that later. I'll let you guys know. But anyway, moving on. So that's all the drama with Ngannou and everything like that. My chair has dropped so low, it's ridiculous. I am going to, give me 1 second. I am going to go to a blank screen just to fix my chair because I don't want to look like a moron doing it. Hold on. Oh, whoops. See, that's why I don't usually do stuff like that in the middle of the pod. But there we go. I'm sure you could tell how much higher I am. My chair just kept dropping and dropping. Yeah, moving on. Last thing on MMA news. Not really MMA, but here we go. I just wanted to touch on this for a minute because of course, Dana White and all the shit going on with him. This goes along with the Francis thing. I don't know. His wife must have slapped some stupidity into him instead of out of him. Unless, it just built up higher because he decided to slap back. But anyway, in an interview about the Power Slap League, because it debuted this week, I don't know how it did. I didn't watch it. I enjoyed watching. Exactly, Magics. I enjoy watching clips of people slapping the shit out of each other before it became this whole thing. Because it was weird, interesting, circus, freak show type stuff. But I mean, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. I'm not into it. I don't know if anybody else is. If you're gonna fight, fighting is about offense and defense. You're gonna get head trauma. You're gonna have, problems, CTE, all that shit. But it is a sport. It's a well-established sport. And I know, and there's defense. You can defend yourself in any fight. And if you can't, then they're gonna stop the fight. when you're doing this power slap shit, you're just standing there taking hit after hit after hit. Like, what the fuck? I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. Like I said, it's entertaining to watch a clip come up here and there on TikTok, Instagram, wherever the fuck you're watching anything. It's cool for a clip on social media. I'm not watching this shit day by day, week after week. What's up, Don Reiki? Good to see you back, brother. I haven't heard from you in a while. Thanks for listening too, by the way. But yeah, so this is Dana White's fucking comments on people, you know, having problems with it. He says, if you don't like it, don't fucking watch it. Nobody is asking you to watch it. If you're disgusted, go watch The Voice. Dana White on Power Slap. Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the fact that he's real, because that's what I do here. I'm real about it. I don't give a shit. Like, what, Dana White's gonna hear my comments? What's he gonna think? He doesn't give a shit what I think, obviously. And neither do any of these fighters. That's why I say fuck Sean Strickland. Golf Clash. Damn, I stopped playing, bro. I stopped playing. I'm too busy with this. It is what it is. Anyway. Yeah. Nobody's gonna give a shit what I'm saying, but I'm here to entertain you guys, and I'm just being real. And that's the way he is too. He doesn't give a shit. But dude, when you're in the limelight like he is, under everything, and saying stuff like this, I don't know. I don't get it. Especially about something that, you know, say this was Ariel Helwani, okay, who Dana White has a problem with. Say this was Jake Paul doing the Power Slap League. You know what Dana White would say about it? He would say, these fucking goofball idiots think that this is going to compete with the UFC, think that this is going to be something that's going to be big. These fucking goofballs. No, that's exactly what he would say. And that's what he would think. But then he's coming around. I mean, come on. Anyway, I just had to bring it up because I think it's ridiculous. Like, these are the comments that he's making. It's fucking, like, a lot of times I'm like, okay, I see Dana's point. I get it. But dude, I don't know. This year, he's just stepping it up and making it worse. And I don't like it. It's entertaining, like I said. It makes for good content, something to talk about. But it's kind of embarrassing. You know, this sport I like, the organization that's supposed to be the best one out there, undeniably it is. But for fucking Dana to be acting a fool, man. Most of the time he's making fun of the guys that are making fools of themselves out there. And he's turned into that guy. And I don't know. I don't know if he can recover, because he just keeps going. And the criticism is getting worse and worse. And I hate to pile on, but just Dana, dude, get your fucking shit together. I don't know. It is what it is. Let's move on to the shit that really matters. UFC 283. 2 title fights taking place in Brazil this Saturday, January 21st. Perfect. So, I'll start it off by saying this. Saturday, if you haven't seen it on my social media, I am doing another live watch party podcast with the guys from the Rumble. We're going to be watching the fights and reacting and talking shit, of course. So, check it out Saturday, right here, same channel, at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I know, right, Trin? I got shit on my mind. I got to get it off. But yeah, I'm reacting to the comments in the chat. Check out the chat if you want to know what I'm talking about. And give me something else to talk about. But yeah, this Saturday, we're watching the fights. I can't show you the fights, obviously. So if you're getting the fights, who gives a shit what the guys are saying on the show? Listen to us. We're going to make you laugh. We're going to talk about the fights too. I mean, who really listens to all the commentary anyway? Right? I mean, do you really pay attention? Usually I don't. I mean, unless I'm by myself. If I'm by myself, I'm listening. You know, there's not much else. But other people do fight companions. Other people do watch parties. You know, those are the people that are well established, big studios, blah, 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 blah. But you know me. If you're here and watching, you probably know me. And if you don't, well, get to know me a little better with the guys I do other podcasts with. So Saturday, 8 p.m. Check it out. 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Arizona time, whatever you want to call it. Adjust for your own time region. But it's when the main card starts for the UFC, that's when we'll be live. So just think of it that way. Check it out. We'll just be acting like some fools, talking shit. It'll be fun. Exactly. If you want to hear Rogan, watch his podcast. It makes more sense. But good point, Don Raggy. Yeah. So 2 title fights: Figueiredo versus Moreno and Teixeira versus Hill. Now we're gonna get into the title fights later, but the rest of this card is pretty stacked. You know, we got Gilbert Burns versus Neil Magny, Lauren Murphy versus Jessica Andrade, and a bunch more. Let's look at what else we got. Oh man, I made this like the smallest possible. But the other fight on the main card, Paul Craig versus Walker. Damn it, why did I forget his first name? Man, I'm having brain farts all day today. What the fuck is wrong with me? Anyway, Shogun is on this. He's the main fight on the prelims, and it's gonna be his final fight as well. We'll get into that in a few minutes too. Let me open this up so I can actually read it, because that's pretty small writing. I don't even know why I brought that one up. Pretty dumb of me. Let's get this going though. I'm gonna bring my phone up and I'm gonna read off the rest of them, just for the sake of giving them, you know, the shine. So here we go. Prelim card: Shogun versus Poteria. Oh, man, of course it's got to be the worst names. Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Figueira. Tiago Moises versus Maliquizel Costa. Damn, that's tough too. Oh damn, those are canceled. All right, anyway, you get the point. There's a couple new fights on there that I'm not seeing on here, which that's kind of crazy. Oh, Terrence McKinney's fighting. That's gonna be a good one. I'll be watching that one. Sounds good. Thanks, Anthony, for checking it out. Anyway, early prelims. Oh yeah, Terrence McKinney versus Ismael Bonfim. Orly Alves versus Nicholas Dalby. That should be a good one. Yeah, that's about it. Cody Stamen versus Luan Lacerda. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Dalton Almeida versus Shamil Abdurakimov. Yeah, that should be a good fight too. I can't say his name, but I know who he is. Good fight there. So let's go over some of these main card fights though. The first one, Paul Craig versus, why can't I remember his damn name? His first name. What is it? Come on. I'm gonna find it right now. Because I'm dumb and I cannot remember his first name. Johnny Walker. Why did I forget? Because I went over this earlier. I talked it through earlier. I was like, I was remembering his name because he comes up later in another clip too. Anyway, Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker. Craig's a beast. He's a good submission artist, and he's got heavy hands too. But Johnny Walker could have been great, but he hurt himself after doing the worm for a celebration of a fight that he won. Hurt his shoulder pretty bad, and he hasn't been the same since. But so Paul Craig submitted Jamahal Hill, who is now fighting for the light heavyweight championship. So, I mean, that tells you a lot about Paul Craig. Jamahal Hill, you know, he's been on the come up and had some great fights and got some great wins. Oh, that is a nasty armbar. Holy shit. Look at him. He can't even tap right. Anyway, Jamahal Hill came up, right? After that happening to him. But Paul Craig is a badass. I told you he's a beast. This is what he does. He gets people in those positions. He dominates them and puts them in a submission. And he gets that win. But, you know, he's still coming up. He's still beatable. And Johnny Walker's one of these dudes with crazy dynamic strikes. I mean, he almost got an illegal strike right there. He was about to soccer kick that fool in his head, and that would have been illegal. But He's always doing these crazy kicks. He's super fast and explosive, but he messes up a lot. He tires himself out, and he leaves things open. And I think that if Paul Craig comes out the way he normally does and kind of bum rushes him, drops some strikes on him and lands and softens him up a little bit, gets him to the ground and submits him. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking happens here, because Johnny Walker's, like I said, hasn't looked the same since he hurt himself. So we'll see how that goes, but that's a great fight. This whole main card is great. I love it. This is a good fight too. Lauren Murphy versus Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade is a former champion. She got beat by... Oh, shit. Who did she get beat? Doug Rose, I think, beat her. Yeah? No. Yeah. So she beat Rose, and then Rose beat her. Anyway, she's a former champ. Lauren Murphy just fought for the title not that long ago. She looked all right, but Lauren Murphy takes a lot of damage. She's a tough ass fucking fighter, but she takes a lot of damage. And her face is kind of like Nate Diaz and Justin Gaethje and Poirier. Like, they all have that, a lot of scar tissue, and they bleed easily. And Lauren Murphy's that type, but she's got some great submissions. She's always going to get you on the ground. She's a great wrestler, and she's a great grappler all around, and she puts some nasty submissions on people. Look at her. She stretches her out, and she gets that sub. So she's dangerous on the ground. She does have strikes that set up her ground game fairly well. So we'll see how that goes against Jessica Andrade, though. She's got heavy hands. And this is against, what is her name? I can't remember names today. I can't remember shit today. I don't know what's wrong with me. I need to take some pills or something. Something to get my memory going. I got too much shit in my head. Anyway, yeah, this is a nasty knockout. This is what she does. I believe she's a pretty high level jiu-jitsu player as well, but I don't know if she can handle the strength of Lauren Murphy on the ground. But I will say this, sadly, I think Jessica Andrade is going to come out with the win. It's probably going to go to decision. They're going to nullify each other, and it might be a little boring, but I'm still excited to watch it because Jessica Andrade could come out and just rock the shit out of Lauren Murphy, which would be sad in my opinion because I like Lauren Murphy, but it would be entertaining and exciting. Or maybe Lauren gets that big win and puts her back in contention for the belt. Something she needs. So we'll see how that one goes. That's a great women's fight, though. All right, so a little bit of a stray away from the main card, but I needed to talk about Shogun for a minute. Shogun, Mauricio Shogun Rua, has got a brother named Ninja Rua. If you watched back in the day, you know who he is. They are some badass fighters. Shogun has been around for a long ass time. I remember when I first started watching, he was a big name, and he, I was just like, who is this Shogun guy? Because I don't think he was in the UFC when I first started watching. But then I watched him come in, take over, become a champ, and then he got beat by Jon Jones, which was unfortunate, but that started Jon Jones's reign as a champ. But as you can see here, he held the belt in Pride, which Pride was so dope. I didn't watch it when it was popular, but I watched a little bit of it here and there at the tail end, and I've watched a bunch of the fights from back in the day. If you ever want to be entertained and you like watching old fights, you could see everybody from Chuck Liddell, Rampage, did Randy go to a fight in Pride? I don't know, but BJ Penn. I mean, they're all kinds of big names. Shogun, the Nogueira brothers, Fedor, all kinds of people fought in Pride. It was such a dope ass league. Don Fry had a crazy fight in Pride. So go back and watch those fights if you like watching old fights, or if you just want to be entertained by some. I mean, they were crazy fights, like kind of freak show type fights. Turns out, just recently, actually, Ensign Inoue, who was a fighter in Pride, one of those legendary guys. You may not have known him because he may not have been mainstream legendary, but he's definitely a legend in the fight world. But he just came out and showed a contract from Pride where it specifically said that they basically encourage you to do steroids. So they definitely don't do testing, but that's what made for some great fights. Their promotion was just overall fantastic. You've heard me talk about it before when it came to Ryzen. Ryzen is kind of an offshoot from Pride. I think they were trying to recreate it a little bit. But yeah, there's some dope fights. It's fun to watch, and Shogun was a champ there. He has a Pride belt. He was a UFC champ for a while. Just a great fighter all around. As you can see, just knocking fools out left and right. He had submissions. He had everything. He was a great fighter. This is going to be his retirement fight. I hope he goes out with a win. But, they never give these guys the best matchup. Not that they need to give him like a can, but they definitely would be better to give him a little bit of a better matchup to go out with. But it is what it is. And yeah, I'll be watching Shogun's fight for sure. Anyway, thank you, Shogun, for all the good fights. I hope to watch you get a good win on Saturday and go out happy, healthy, and yeah, good luck. Next fight, though, Gilbert Burns versus Neil Magny. This is going to be a banger because Neil Magny he's not the most exciting fighter, but when he gets in those good fights, oh man. And Gilbert Burns is always in a good fight. He's always in a fucking knockdown, drag out war. And if Neil Magny knows what's good for him, he'll try to catch him early because Gilbert will take you into deep waters and punish you. So I'm looking forward to this fight. Neil Magny, though, he's got some heavy hands. He's got some good striking. He's a good all-around fighter. Unfortunately, he beat the hell out of Robbie Lawler, as you can see by Robbie's face. I'm sad that this is one of the pictures I'm showing, but it just goes to show how good Magny is, that he just kind of annihilated Robbie. But yeah, look at Gilbert Burns fucking launching Tyron Woodley. Oh shit, this is not the clip I thought it was, but that's all right. You get it. Strikes, setting up the knockdown, jumping on him. Gilbert is a badass, and he fought Khamzat Chimaev, which a lot of people thought that Gilbert won that fight, including me. Kinda, after I watched it a couple times, and I kind of think that Gilbert might have won that fight, but he gave Khamzat a war, made him look like a human instead of a fucking monster. So this is gonna be a good one. I can't wait for this one. Shit, all my ranting, it's already been an hour. Oh well, I ain't got shit to do. What about you? If you do, finish the rest later. I understand. But if you're still here, I appreciate you. But moving on to the two title fights. So, like I said earlier, we got Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. This is part 4. They have fought 3 other times, but I'll tell you this. Every single fight that they've had, all 3 of them have been exciting as fuck. They have been crazy and just full bangers, just dope. So, you can't miss the 4th one. Who gives a shit if it's the 4th one? But these guys, Figueiredo hasn't fought anyone other than Brandon Moreno for the past 3 years. He hasn't had any different opponents. It's been him versus Moreno. That's it. Which, that's pretty crazy. 3 years? Like, damn. Anyway, second title fight is Glover Teixeira versus Jamahal Hill. Like I said earlier, this is for the vacant light heavyweight title because Glover lost to Yuri Prohaska. Yuri Prohaska was going to defend his title against Islam Makhachev, but then he got hurt. Then Islam fought Jan Blachowicz, who Glover beat for the belt. Okay, I'm trying to go down this timeline. Glover beat Jan for the belt. Yuri beat Glover for the belt. Yuri was supposed to fight Islam for his first title defense. Yuri got hurt. So then Jan Blachowicz came in and subbed as to fight for the vacant belt. they fought to a goddamn draw. It was not a great fight overall, and yeah, it was a draw. So now the title is the belt is still vacant. So light heavyweight has no champion right now, and there's been a fight for the belt, and there's still no champ. So Glover's fighting Jamahal for the belt. I would love to see Glover win again, because Jamal's still young and he could come back up and fight for it again. But I think if Glover loses this one, that might be it. I mean, he hasn't said it, but I'm feeling like if he can't win that belt back, that might be it for him. And even if he does, I don't think he's got too many more fights under his belt. He's been around for a long time. He started late, but I would love to see him win it one more time. Maybe get one good defense out of it, and then retire on top. That would be great. That would be ideal, actually. So I'm kind of pulling for that. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So let's start with Figueiredo versus Moreno, part 4. As you can see, like I told you, they fought to a draw in their first fight. So that was kind of crazy. Now, the reason why Moreno's clapping and laughing and turning away because he can't believe it's a draw, Figueiredo's got his hands up because, well, he retains the belt. It's a draw. So he gets to keep his belt because he didn't get beat. There it is. It didn't work the first time. Sorry, it's been an hour. I kind of need some nicotine. But, yeah, so they fought to a draw. It was a great fight. It was a very, very close fight. Well worth a draw, honestly. It was a good fight for being a draw. Normally, you'd be like, what the hell? A draw? Everybody hates a draw. Everybody hates a tie. Like, just finish it somehow. Go like 1 extra minute and just throw. See what happens. That would be dope, actually. Except they've probably already been beaten up and tired of shit. And I don't know. I'd say give them 30 seconds in the middle of the cage. No takedowns. Straight leg, kicks and punches. And see who goes down first. First guy to fall, they're the winner. They're the loser, I mean. The winner is the last guy standing. I mean, come on. Let's do it. Anyway, that was a quick weird thought, random thought. But yeah, it was a great fight to watch, even though it was a draw. And what's weird about that fight is I remember it specifically because I was out of town for work then too. And I watched it I had to stay over the weekend, and that sucked ass. That was like the first time I'd ever had to do it. But at least I got to watch the fight. I missed having it at home and getting to watch it at home, but I still watched it. It was great. It was a crazy fight. But yeah, Moreno, second fight. So he takes the belt from Deiveson, subs him. Pretty nasty choke right there. Deiveson could not get out. Moreno had that figure 4 lock on the body. Done. And which I was so happy to see Moreno win that, because dude, the emotion that came out of him when he won that belt and they put it around his waist, it was cool. Moreno's one of the nicest dudes. I've never seen him be shitty to anybody. I've never heard him talk bad. He's kind of a nerd, actually. He loves Legos. He puts together Legos all the time. It's weird. This killer in the cage, and he's playing with Legos, and he's like 20 something. Anyway, no judgment here, man. Moreno's dope. But Figueiredo got the win at UFC 270. A lot of people said it was controversial. It seemed to me Figgy just, edged it out at the end. Or maybe it was like he took one round that a lot of people thought was too close to call, but I think he took it. Either way, it sucked to watch Moreno lose, but yeah, it was UFC 270. So now Figueiredo is the champ now. Yeah. Either way, they're fighting for the belt. 4th time. Crazy. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to that fight. Two championship fights. It's going to be a little bit of a long night if they go all 5 rounds. That's what happened last time we did the watch party, though. It was two title fights, so it kind of took a while, but I'm buckled in. If everybody else wants to drop out, you'll still have me on the show, talking shit and breaking stuff down. So maybe I'll just get deeper into it if I have to, keep going on my own. But it should be good. So here we go. Last fight. Vacant light heavyweight championship bout. Gibert Teixeira versus Jamahal. So I kind of went into this earlier and explained it a bit. To just a crazy, like, I saw a post the other day from somebody on, I think it was Instagram or Facebook, I don't remember. By the way, go to either one of those sites and you'll see a lot of posts from me. My Instagram stories are all of the news all the time, and Facebook too. Facebook, I repost everything that's relevant and good, and some funny shit, and then of course any posts of my own, and that's where you'll see the promo for Saturday night. Go check it out. Anyway, yeah, so the graphic I saw was someone was like, in the matter of, I think it was like 3 years, there was only 2 champs in the light heavyweight. Was it 3 years or 5 years? Something like that. There's only 2 champs in the light heavyweight division. In a matter of 2 years, there's been 1, 2, 3. I think it was like 4, which is pretty nuts. Like, because it's like 2 years and there's been like three or 4 different champs. Crazy. So the light heavyweight division is just up in the air. Yeah, nothing too crazy happening. So we'll see who takes this, man. I'm excited. Like I said, I would love to see Teixeira win it again. I like seeing him win it the first time. I had a feeling he wasn't going to be able to hold on to it for long, but maybe he'll win it this time and just retire then. Retire on top then. Do it. Fuck the title defense, man. Go out, leave the belt vacant again, and then Yuri comes back and he can fight whoever for it. It's not a bad idea. Anyway, Jamahal Hill is a badass. If you haven't heard of him, here he is against Thiago Santos, who is a fucking beast. He's got that Thor hammer on his chest because that's what his nickname Maheta, which is like, I guess, Portuguese for hammer. I don't know, but that's because his hands are like fucking hammers. He beats the shit out of people. But Jamahal Hill got the best of him, as you can see here, throwing, they're exchanging punches. Jamahal Hill comes out on top, gets that win. Here he is against Johnny Walker. Remember I said I was gonna mention him later again. This was a crazy knockout. Look how Walker just like flails his body backwards after getting hit. Bam! That was so weird. Like, the most just delayed reaction, but he got knocked the fuck out. This was on my top KOs for 2022. Pretty sick. And so Jamahal Hill's got that power. So on the feet, unfortunately, Glover, he likes to get into those stand-up battles, those stand-up wars. He likes to throw hands. His hands used to be super heavy. Still probably are a bit, because power is usually the last thing to go. But he cannot withstand punches like these. I don't believe he can. He did well with Yuri, against Yuri, and he took a lot of damage, but it weighed on him, and it got him at the end of the fight. I think he just made a mistake. I think he just slipped and made a mistake. We'll go over that right now. But I don't know if he could take these hits from Jamahal Hill. Young, up and coming, fucking heavy hands, and I'm sure he's got the cardio to keep up with Glover, but we'll see. I don't know if I've seen him in any 5-round fights. This was a 5-round fight, but I don't think I've seen him go 5 rounds. So we'll see how that goes. Here's Glover showing his strength, his punching power. He got those uppercuts were nasty against man, I'm so bad with names today. So bad with names. He's a commentator. Anyway, he knocked out his teeth. That's how crazy this fight was. Glover looked like a fucking world beater in this fight. Anthony Lionheart Smith. That's who that is. I should have known. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, like Glover knocked out his teeth, like one of his teeth in this exchange. Those uppercuts were nasty. They were working for Glover all night long on Anthony. And Anthony Smith's no joke. He's not a bitch at all. Like he's a badass. He's a beast too. And for him to get beat up by Glover like this is crazy, especially with the age difference and everything like that. But here's the other thing. Glover's got that ground and pound and that grappling. and he's a great jiu-jitsu fighter. So Jamahal Hill's got to be careful, because if Glover catches him slipping or catches him with a punch, he's going to take him to the ground, get on top of him, and beat the shit out of him that way. Or he's going to soften him up just enough to get a submission on him, because Glover's a damn good submission artist as well. So, man, I'm excited for this one. I can't wait. You know, the old dog versus the new guy. Like, you know, one of those things happens all the time. Sometimes you get a great, exciting, crazy fight, or you get an all drug out war, and the old guy never looks that good in those. But who knows, maybe the experience will take him and get him that belt. I would love to see Glover get that belt and retire. Who cares? Retire or defend it once. Who cares? But I don't want to see him do too many more. And like I said, just to see him become champ again would be great. Dude, he almost had Yuri. This is the first round. He's got Yuri on his back in full mount and ground and pounding him. Like, this fight was crazy. And unfortunately for Glover, he was winning this fight. He could have coasted the rest of the fight. And of course, in the last minute of the last round, he fucks up and lets Yuri catch him in a sub. So that's what I was talking about earlier. But anyway, that sucks. That's how Glover lost that belt. So yeah, let's see if he can get it back. I'm excited for this one. Saturday, January 21st. That's this Saturday. Don't forget. It's in Brazil, but it's normal time for us, thank God. Because then we get to watch it and do a watch party for it. So that about wraps that up. I know I went a little long. I went on some tangents. I had a lot of shit to say. It is what it is. I don't hate Dana White. I hate the things that he does, especially this whole what happened with his wife. You know, just to put a bow on all that stuff. Francis, it sucks that he's gone. I hate that he's gone. I wish they could have come to terms with something so we could keep watching him in the UFC. A lot of speculations and rumors that he's going to go to the PFL. Bellator wants him, but I don't think he's going to go there. Bare knuckle fighting is, you know, trying real hard to get him. They're like throwing it out there constantly. Hey, Francis, we got a contract for you. I don't think Francis wants to do anything right now but box Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua. He wants a big boxing fight. I don't know how he's going to do with that. I don't know if that's a good idea for him. I don't know if he's got the boxing skills. He can hit like a fucking truck, but does he have the technical ability to avoid the punches coming at him from these high-level boxers? Does he have the technique to catch these high-level boxers? Is he going to punch himself out thinking that he's going to have that one-punch knockout power? I don't know, man. I don't know that he has all that. He's a great MMA fighter. He should have stuck to that. He was just getting good at grappling and wrestling. And now it's just, who knows? Is it for nothing? I don't know. I am curious, and I'm impatient to know what's happening with Francis, but it just happened. So I guess we'll see. And as far as Dana goes, Dana's gonna be Dana doing Dana shit. That's how it works. That's how it works when you're a fucking billionaire. Fuck it Friday. That's every day for him. You know what I mean? He does those stupid posts about some crazy shit that he eats on. I don't know. It's all kind of getting to me, but I'll never stop watching. You know, a lot of people keep talking about this shit about how MMA just doesn't seem to be as high popular, high level mainstream sport anymore like it used to. You know, the sale of the company, all the things that came along with it, just all the drama. There's just a lot of shit that I think are weighing hard on the UFC. And, you know, PFL is coming hard for that second spot. And if the UFC doesn't watch out, their billions of dollars ain't going to get them the popularity if they don't want to play ball with these good fighters, they're gonna lose them, and they're gonna, they're gonna lose the audience with them. UFC is always gonna be a mainstay in MMA, but there's no saying that they can't get less popular, because they could. And when it comes to the PFL and other organizations that are doing things and making moves, the PFL especially with Jake Paul and all this stuff going on, what if Ngannou comes over to join the pay-per-view super fight division of the PFL with Jake Paul? I mean, maybe not fighting Jake Paul, but what if they find some crazy fight for him, paying millions of dollars? I say good for Francis, but then what? Then PFL becomes the clear cut second in the running for the top spot of the best MMA organization and promotion. Bellator, I don't know if they have what it takes to. They have the name and they have the longevity, but I don't know if they have what it takes to beat out a new company like this with a new structure and a new format that are offering fighters this kind of money. I've heard people down on it, that it's not really what you think, but I've heard more of the upside and more of the kind of, I guess, proof that it really is better than what every other organization's doing. So, who knows? We'll see how everything goes. As for me, I'm about talked out. It's been an hour and 17 minutes. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Thank you guys, Trinity, Magix, and Anthony, for hopping in the chat and keeping me company. Don't forget, this Saturday, January 21st, for UFC 283, when the main card starts, we will go live. Me and the guys from the Rumble podcast, which I'm part of the Rumble podcast, so I always say the guys from there, though, because we're talking about my podcast here. So the guys from the Rumble podcast are going to be joining me again. We're going to have some fun. Come check it out. Come laugh at us. Come laugh with us. Make fun of us. I don't care. Get in the chat. Talk it up. My boy Clark was in the chat last time and had fun messing around, talking shit with us. So I appreciate that, Clark, and you better be in there this week too. Gonna make some bets, probably. I think I'm gonna try to make some bets live like we did on last time. Maybe my deal go in too. Maybe we'll do some parlays and bet them together. We'll see what happens. Anyway, yeah, that's happening this Saturday, 8 p.m. Arizona time. Just know whenever the main card starts, you can get on YouTube and join in with us. I'll try to sync it up as good as possible so you can sync up the fights with us and know where we are. But yeah, come and hang out. It should be fun. And don't forget to do all of the normal good stuff, like subscribe, notification bell, share it, comment later, do all that good fun stuff to help me out, because that's all it'll do is help me out. If you don't like it, that's fine, but tell me why in the comments if you don't like it, or just ignore it. That's cool too. I don't need to hear all the negative shit, but I know I'm my biggest critic. I promise you that. Anyway, yeah, do all that good fun stuff. Don't forget, if you like to listen to audio only, you can do that on all of the platforms that you get your podcasts. If it's not there, let me know. Comment on this video, and I'll try to get it there for you, or on any of my social media, which you can see down below. Going Rounds Podcast everywhere except for Twitter. It's Going Rounds Pod. Yeah. And don't forget to catch the Rumble. I never even put it on there. Haha. That's funny. I meant to put my graphic on there, but oh well. Let's do this. All I have to do is, there you go. Rumble Podcast. It's pretty much all under the umbrella of the Rumble now, but we have the Enough to Be Dangerous segment on Tuesday, or the show on Tuesday. We do the actual Rumble with all of our drafts and stuff on Wednesdays, and we do the final episode version on Sundays. So you can catch all those 8 p.m. Arizona time on the Rumble Podcast YouTube channel. Check out all the socials for the Rumble Podcast. I think we're on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. I don't know if we're on Instagram. Let me know. I don't know. I don't remember. I just saw the Facebook the other day. I didn't even know we were on there. Anyway, I'm on that podcast. Check me out, talking about way more other things other than MMA. And these guys will be joining me Saturday, like I said, to watch the fights live. So check it out. Thanks again. I'm gonna shut up now. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody watching and listening. I gotta get this off the screen now. And yeah, catch me Saturday live, and then next week we'll come back and recap everything and talk about what happened on the live show. All right. Thanks again. Talk to y'all later. Peace. Oh shit, I don't have everything ready. Haha, normal. All right, later.